Welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. And away they go. So the Turbo Tracer drops them very quickly off from the start. You can see this pack moving as one and away. Brilliant start on this course here. We saw a group of 22 riders for the majority of the race route until we came into the lower slopes when somebody pulled that pin and boom went the group. At the finish, who's going to take it away? We're coming in towards the finale.
So we have 5 riders in this lead group with 1k to go as they come into the tunnel. We are in with Jojo Bauer, but Karup Kaveda is leading the group. Bauer in second, Donny in third, Van Hule in fourth, Bjarnhed fifth.
Bauer now goes over the top of Kavedo. Kavedo comes back at her. So this is going to be close. We've got another tunnel on its way in. Emma, these riders, they're absolutely on it. And look at this. Bauer is back on the wheels and starting to be dropped.
And Kavedo is really pushing on here.
300 meters to go. Now less than 200 meters to go for Bauer. And has she got the timing right?
Bauer has put the power down before Kavedo. I'm calling this for Bauer now as Bauer goes over the line in first place, with Kavedo putting out the watts a little bit too late and coming in second. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. My name is Emma Martin and I'm with you to talk about all the action today in our Women's Qualifier 3 race on Sunday the 21st of August 2022. We are looking forward to some real action today. And we have a challenging course today with the Bahrain route up in front of these women today. So a total distance of 35.6 kilometres of course, but that is over 4 laps today with an 8.9k course with 4 climbs per lap. Yes, you heard right, 4 climbs per lap. 4 laps equals 16 climbs in front of these women today and a total elevation of 440 metres. That is, however, less than the final climb last week. So a very different course in front of our women today. And heading out from the start banner, you can see there at kilometre 0, the start banner will drop and the riders will go straight up the climb today. So, facing these women today, on the start line, we have some great riding in front of us today. So teams, category 1 teams on the start line today. Las Colombianas, Spartan Obstacles, Strong Girls, and the Fusion Squad. Watch out, Spartan Obstacles have been first team across the line in the last 2 weeks. But Las Colombianas, let's not forget, were second in the July final. So expect some great racing from the likes of Bauer and Barragan today as we see these teams fight it out for the win. We've got 20 riders overall in category 1 today, with 6 individual riders facing off against these teams. So our category 1 riders today will be in the yellow jerseys, and we will see them on the start line shortly. Our category 2 riders, this as well is just as competitive, if not more competitive than the category 1 team race. So we have today on the start line, Team SZ Hyenas, Tri Women, Team RT Cycle Zone Ladies 1, Strong Women, and Team Fitness 10. You know, Tri Women were first place team last week, followed in very closely by Team Fitness 10. But let's not forget Team SZ Hyenas won Qualifier 1, and Strong Women were first in the July finals. This team competition in category 2 is very competitive, and the racing from these teams is really fast and furious. So 30 riders today taking the start line in the category 2 race, 15 individual riders joining these teams today. So our category 2 riders in the green jerseys, our category 3 riders in the blue, and in the team competition today, Salon Bike Shop Team 2, Thundercats, Climber Girls, and the Cycle Hub team as well. So the Cycle Hub team have been first in both of the August qualifier races so far, but they weren't first in the final last time. And we can't ever forget or rule out Salon Bike Shop team, second in the July final. So again, whether it's category 1, category 2 or category 3, these team competitions are really competitive. On the start line today, 30 riders in our category 3 race, 13 individual riders joining these teams today. So we are down on the start line with 1 minute to go. And we can see there 71 riders currently on the start line, and a real mix today of category 1, category 2 and category 3 riders. So getting a strong start today is going to be really important. Getting your timing right for that start is always an important part of racing on the MyWhoosh platform. But today, going out straight onto that first climb, your start is really important. So these riders now taking their final drink, lining up and getting ready. And just a reminder, that first climb, 15 meters of climbing in the first 400 meters of this course today with an average gradient of 3.7%. And it's not long until they hit the second climb. 3, 2, 1, and the riders are away. So we are in with Lisa Brommel at the moment, and as we can see, these riders have got a really good start off that start line. Brommel kicking hard at 6.2 watts per kilo as she pushes through the group to make that front pack. Currently, big group of riders on the road, a mix of category 1 and category 2 riders pushing off of that line and pushing hard in the first 30 seconds of this race. These climbs will come thick and fast during this course today. Our first climb straight off the start line, our second climb coming at 1.4 kilometers travelled. On the right-hand side of your screen, we are in with Stefania Sanchez, and we can see there, slightly further back of a screen, the riders crossing that bridge and turning that view so we can see the category 3 riders bringing up that group. Back in with Manshadi, currently in 11th place, moving through with this group, and this group is starting to make self-selections as we are nearly 1k into the race today. We are already over the first climb and dropping down before we hit the second climb of the 16 climbs today. And yes, you heard correctly, 16 climbs these women are facing today in this race. So we are in with Ortez, and these riders now forming this front pack of category 1 and category 2 riders as we move across the bridge and towards the second climb of this race today. 4 climbs per lap, 4 laps, 16 climbs. And these riders are going to have to look at and think about where they take their recovery and how they focus on this course today. We're expecting to see some very different action to last week, where the course was quite rolling with one very long climb at the end that had more elevation in that final climb last week than we are going to see throughout this race today. So we are in with Van Hooling, and strong rider that we saw last week coming in the top 5, always creating the action and always moving through the racing. So we are moving through, and Van Hooling currently sitting at 5 watts per kilo as she's pushing on through this group. And the expectation, I'm thinking, is that we are going to see the category 1 riders come to the fore in this race, and our category 2 riders not be able to stay with the constant high pace the category 1 riders put out throughout this short, punchy course. I say that though we have some strong category 2 riders in this race today, and I wouldn't be surprised if they try and stay as long as possible with this front group. So as we move into the second climb of this lap, we are starting to see these first category riders, these yellow jerseys, move to the front of this group, with some of our green jersey category 2 riders still in with that front leading bunch. On the right-hand side of your screen, we're in with Maria Jose Zabala, our category 3 rider, currently strongly riding this race. We've got a couple of blue jerseys further up the field there that can be seen heading towards the bridge, but Zabala just 2 seconds back. I think that category 3 riders there, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them within a couple of seconds of each other. I think we're going to see those riders come together and form a group, and that will be a really competitive race today. So on the left-hand side of your screen, we're back in with Para, and we can see a large group of riders there at the head of the race. Over 20 riders currently in that lead group as they move through 2.8 kilometres of this race. They are into, up and over the second climb of 4 in the lap 1, and moving, as we can see in the right-hand side of the screen, strongly. We've got, interestingly, Bauer. Not sure, we're in with Jojo Bauer at the moment. Jojo Bauer normally up in the top 5. In fact, she won the race last week. Not sure what's happening there with her, currently in 66th place. A technical issue perhaps off the start, but she's pushing on at 5.3 watts per kilo and working her way through this group. It's going to be interesting to see where Bauer gets to. Obviously, technical issues or some form of issue off the start. Easily done whilst racing on MyWhoosh. You've only got to drop your phone or drop your water bottle and all of a sudden something can go wrong. And we've seen that before. We've seen riders deliberately go off the front of the group to give themselves a bit of a time lag because of an issue or problem that they've got where they need a little bit of sliding room. And it's looking like Bauer's got a job to do, currently pushing on from 66th to 64th place whilst we've been talking. In fact, now moving into 63rd. We'll keep an eye out on Bauer and see where she gets to in this race. On the left-hand side of your screen, we are back in with Sonelli, one of our category 2 riders in that front group. And it's a very large front group. They are 3.8k into this race. So climb 3 of 4 on this lap starts at 4 kilometres. So they are rolling now into this climb. This climb is 24 metres in height, over 800 metres, with an average gradient of 3%. So it's not long, it's not particularly steep, but it's constant, and these climbs are going to come at a constant pace all race today. So Bauer on the right-hand screen, we are back in with Bauer. She's moved up to 60th. That's 6 places in not very long of racing. She's got Sanchez for company, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see how much Bauer can put through this race and where she's going to end up. So on your screen today, if you are new to watching the racing on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel, on your screen there is a huge amount of information for you to take a look at. In the left-hand corner of the screen at the top, you can see the green numbers at the moment when we're in with Brommel at 272 watts. That's the power the rider is putting out. Currently that's in green, which indicates the rider is taking a draft off the other riders. When it's in black, no draft is available. Also for information in that box up there, we've got cadence currently sitting at 80 and Jojo Bauer's heart rate is at 179. On the right-hand side of your screen in the top corner, we've got information about the course that these riders are racing today. So currently at descending, Bauer is descending at 0.2% gradient. And as we can see, she's about to head into the climb. She's currently done 44 metres of climbing and 3.6k is currently covered as indicated by the bar. On the right-hand side, on the bottom of your screen, you're seeing the list of riders that are in the race today. And as we are in with Jojo Bauer, a Category 1 rider, her jersey on the screen there is yellow. The blue jerseys against the names indicate Category 3, and the green jerseys indicate Category 2. The flags and then the times underneath are distances in front or distances behind. And whilst that gives us a great indication of where the riders are, it also gives the riders themselves a great indication of where they are in the race and the ability to manage the effort that they need to move on. And I'm sure Jojo Bauer is watching that really closely as she moves through that pack and tries to work her way back up to the race itself. So on the left hand of your screen, we are back in with Gemma Brogan. This front group has not split up yet. It is a huge group, as we can see, a mix of Category 1 and Category 2 riders. And currently this group having travelled 5.8k of this lap. Just remind ourselves, it's an 8.9 kilometre lap with 4 climbs on it. And this group are about to hit the final climb of the lap. So the first 3 climbs of this lap have not done much to damage the group, and they are strong riders. We talked about that earlier on. This group currently we're in with Bjarnhead, currently sitting at 216, 230 watts and pushing on well as the gradient starts to move. But in on the right-hand side, we can see Bauer. Bauer has now moved up to 51st place. She's got a number of riders in front of us and she's going to move through this pack of Category 3 riders. She's heading past Giuliano, Lourdes, and this is a strong group of Category 3 riders and Bauer is moving through them really well as she pushes on to 42nd place, 41st place. I'm thinking Bauer's going to end up at least in the top 20, but it's going to be really interesting to see where she gets to. So if you're joining us for the first time, this is the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, and we are in with the women's race. We have a large pack of riders leading this race out of over 20 riders at the moment. The front of the race has covered 6.5 kilometres. We are just over 10 minutes in. We are in with Bjarnhead. The group contains Donny, Faber, Fuhr, Quevedo, Embring, Van Houweling. We have got some really strong riders in this group. Jojo Bauer is moving through that pack of Category 3 riders and she is moving on. She's got Jenny Tan 23 seconds ahead of her. In fact, there's a group 23, 24 seconds up the road, which is going to be her next catch. So we are seeing her now up to 40th place. After issues on the start line, she's moved from 66th to 40th in this lap. Fantastic progress. But this is the group Bauer is trying to catch. This is the front group on the road. They are 1.3k ahead of her. And that's a big ask, even for someone as good as Jojo Bauer. So we're back in with this front group, and Van Houweling is now riding strongly. And they are coming up to the end, towards the end of this first lap. So off the top of the final climb, the riders descend. They then face a gradual rise, another descent, and then a flat run into the finish. But it's not flat all the way into the finish because that final push, the last few metres into the finish, starts the first climb of the lap. So Bauer is working her way through here. She's now 5 seconds off the group in front of her. She's pushing out nearly 6 watts per kilo as she's pushing her way through to make the gaps and to close this down. So currently into 39th place as she moves through this group containing Santiago, Zappa, Jenny Tan. It's a good group of Category 2 riders, but Bauer is moving through and moving through strongly. The next group up the road are 30 seconds ahead of her as she moves into 34th place. So the group on the road at the front, 8.2k travelled of an 8.9k course. This group is whittling its way down slightly, but not much. They're not dropping many riders. We've got over 20 riders in this front group as we sit in with Thur, our Category 1 rider at the front. The pace has dropped off this group. Thur currently putting 2.93 watts per kilo, sitting, taking a rest. In fact, this last segment of this lap is a great place to take a rest before they hit the next lap and the first climb of it. So Bauer has got company. Jenny Tan is trying to sit with her. Tan is a strong Category 2 rider, and I'm wondering whether she's seen an opportunity here to sit with Bauer as Bauer pushes on and tries to make the catch through this race. It would be a great tactic for Jenny Tan if she can move on, because the next group of riders down the road of Jadlock and Joy really are that Category 2 race, and would bring her back into competition with other riders in that group. So moving to the front of the Category 2 and Category 1 race, they are through the lap board of finishing lap 1 with 3 laps of this 4 laps race. Lap number 1, just over 14 minutes of racing done. Just over 14 minutes of racing done, and there are still 23 riders in this front group. It's going to be fast and it's going to be furious later on in this race to see who can pull to the front here and who can go through that finish line in first, second and third, both in this Category 1 and in this Category 2 race. So Bauer continues her charge through this field, and she's bringing down the distance between her and this front group. It's now sitting at around 900 metres difference as she pushes on and makes real use of a consistent pace during the flat and downhill sections of this course. She's not sitting up like the front group and taking rest and recovery. She's pushing on through these sections. And it's going to be interesting to see if or when she makes the catch, whether she will pay for that in the later stages of this race. But actually making that catch, I think, is what is on Bauer's mind as she pushes through and catches Bardskaya, one of the Category 3 races, and moves herself up into 31st place. So back in with Thur. Thur, a Category 1 rider in this leading group, just coming up to 10 kilometres complete in this race. They are moving through to climb 6 of 16 climbs in this race today. This Bahrain route is a really challenging one for these riders today. We are seeing 16 climbs with 110 metres of climbing per lap. It's not a huge amount of climbing in a race because we've seen almost double the amount of climbing on other courses that these women have competed over. But it's constant. These climbs are short, they're sharp, and they just keep coming. And I think in the latter stages of this race, we are really going to see those climbs. And our riders who suit a much punchier style of racing really come to the fore. So Bauer continues to move through the field, catching riders. Bardskaya, the last rider that was caught. You can see just in the distance there as our camera shot pans round. But Bauer's not looking behind her. Bauer's looking in front. And the next rider on the road, Reynard, is the one she's looking to catch. Reynard, one of our Category 2 riders, chasing Golden Light and Hernandez and Carmona. Bauer coming through and coming past. Will Reynard respond and sit on her wheel and take the toe up to the riders in front, or will she just let Bauer go? Golden Light, our next Category 2 rider on the road here, and taking a look behind, Bauer is pushing on to make this catch too. She really is working her way strongly through this field. whatever happened at the start of this race is immaterial here, because Bauer is doing the best ride, an absolutely fantastic effort to work her way up now into 28th place from 66th at the start of lap 1. So our front pack of 20 plus riders in this race are at 11k covered. They have tackled 6 climbs and are moving now into the transition section to the 7th climb of this race. These climbs are not doing much damage to this group because this group is big and it is packed full of category 1 and category 2 riders. We're in with Manshadi, currently around the group here in 23rd place, 23rd, and I'm trying to pull clear of information around how many riders we have in this pack, and I'm thinking it's sitting at around 23, 24 riders. As we go back to the Bauer effort that's going on here, Jojo Bauer sitting at 6.2 watts per kilo as she's moving through this field, with Carmona, the next catch on the road as Bauer goes past, and actually moving into 26th place. There's not many riders now between Bauer and that front group, but there is still a lot of time difference, and it's going to be really interesting to see Bauer's response and reaction to pulling through to the next group. So this front group, we can do a direct comparison now here. This front group are currently sitting at around 3.5, 3.4 watts per kilo as we're in with Manshadi. Bauer still putting out over 4 watts or 4.5 watts per kilo. She's traveling quicker than the front group, even though she's got no draft and no effort, no one to help her, because her aim and her goal is to get back into this front group. She's currently in 26th place. She's got a couple of riders. Lisa Brommel is 11 seconds down the road. So she's got a bridge between her and the next group, but then the distances and the times between the groups get much bigger, and it's a much bigger ask for Bauer with less motivation of riders to catch between her and this main group. That is to say, unless this group starts shredding riders, but at this pace at the moment, there's some real recovery going on here. We're in with Fua. Fua's heart rate in this front group is nice and steady at around 160. This isn't a big effort for Fua. We've seen Fua's heart rate top high 180s when the real effort and pace is going on. So currently sat in this group, Fua's with this top 20 riders in this race. And we are pushing on now, and she is pushing on now as we move on to that front group, moving on to climb number 7. Back here with Brommel at 12.3k. We are still on the descents and the rolling lands between the climbs, but we can see coming round the corner behind Brommel, it's Bauer. Bauer has got Brommel in her sights as Bauer is pushing through this race field, trying to get to the front after what can only be described as a shocking start. So if you're watching this action and you are thinking you would like to take part in the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, what you need to do to register to race, head over to the MyWhoosh website, download the app if you don't already have it, and check out the list of essential equipment. On the website, take a look at the events page. You can sign up there for the Sunday Race Club. You need to have signed up at least 12 hours in advance of the race. And for a little bit of light reading, I would strongly recommend you take a look and a read of the technical guide, the rule set, and also the frequently asked questions. Really useful and helpful to get you prepared and ready to race. So we're back in with the action now, and Bauer is about to make this catch. She is about to catch Brommel, the Category 1 rider, who is here as Bauer goes past her and moves into the top 25. Bauer, for those of you who were with us at the start of this race, had a really difficult time off the start line and was at the back of the field. She's putting in an astounding ride here to move from the back of the field to 25th place so far. And she's got her next rider, Angie Parrott, in her sights on that list of riders to push through and continue. On the left-hand side of your screen now, we are back in with the leaders of this race. 14.4k covered, and that puts them coming towards climb number 8, to the final climb on lap 2 of this 4-lap race. Starts at 14.9 kilometres. In fact, there you are on the screen in front of you. The 8th climb today is the 4th climb on that 1-lap map. So 18 metres, 700 metres in length, with an average gradient of 2.5%. As you can see, this is a punchy course. We've got short laps and a number of them, and the riders are making the most of this course, but we've not seen it do much damage, or anybody do much damage, to this front pack yet today. In fact, the pace of this front pack today is allowing an epic ride to happen from Jojo Bauer. Jojo Bauer, one of our Category 1 riders who is normally, we can be guaranteed she's in the action, making it to the finish line. In fact, Bauer crossed the finish line first last Sunday. After a shocking start today, Bauer has been moving through this field with amazing finesse and pushing on through lap 1 and lap 2, now up into 25th place from dead last off of the start line. The group ahead are where she is heading. So currently, she is now looking at 700 metres between her and these riders in front. And that is half the distance that it was on lap 1. So Bauer making real inroads now into catching that group. That group now still in the front with over 20 riders in it, and some amazing riders in this group as we see them head up onto this climb. So at 15.6k travelled, Manshadi is in here as they go over the top of this climb and hit the descent. But we have some real class in this group from Quevedo and Brogan and Thua and Embring. We've got some outstanding Category 2 riders at the front of the Category 2 race in this group as well. We've got Sinelli, we've got Sanchez, we've got Conan. We have some real class that we see on the finish line, battling it out in both our Category 1 and our Category 2 races. So we are back in with Bauer, and Bauer is about to make her next catch on the road. Angie Parrott here, as we're watching, come over the bridge, tapping away at 3.5 watts per kilo with a really nice cadence at around 75 RPM. She's pushing through, but it's not enough to fight off the force. That is Jojo Bauer today. Bauer coming through at 5 watts per kilo. She's adamant she's going to make this catch because that's one step closer for Bauer between her and that leading pack. Para currently 24th on the road, and Bauer goes past her like she's standing still. But Para is looking like she is going to push on and get back onto Bauer's wheel. And that's a fabulous place to be because we know what Bauer's up to. Bauer is trying to make that gap smaller between her and that front pack. Her next catch is 50 seconds up the road, and that is looking like the main group. So it's going to be, oh, I'm betting my money actually is going to be on Bauer making that group before the end of this race. As we head back into the action at the front of this race, we are in with Faber. Faber, a strong Category 1 rider, ticking along here in this group at a nice steady pace for Faber. We're seeing 3 watts per kilo in this group. This group are very much around climbing and recovering, and that's what we've seen them do for the first 2 laps of this race. So we are in with the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We are in with the women's race today, which is 35.6 kilometres of the Bahrain route. We are on 4 laps racing today, and we are currently heading towards the end of lap 2. The front group here today is a large group of Category 1 and Category 2 riders as they round the corner and they see the lap banner with 2 laps to go. This is half race distance for these riders, half race distance and just under 30 minutes of race time gone. We're in with Brogan, and Brogan is one of the Category 1 riders in this group, but the group is mixed with Category 1 and Category 2 riders in here, and a lot of them. We've got a really strong race field today, and this course so far has not done any damage to this group. At what point is this course going to be set alight, and who is going to do it? It is going to be really interesting to see, but Brogan at the moment currently sat in this group taking a good ride. Jojo Bauer has been the rider of this race so far. Bauer currently sat in 24th place, had a shocker of a start today. Bauer, as our followers will know, is a strong racer, often in for the race win. Her start today was a really difficult ride for her, and in lap 1 we saw her move from 66th through to the early 30s. Lap 2 we've seen her move through the field, now in 24th place, and only 500 metres now separating her from that front pack. It is an outstanding ride from Bauer today, and the consistent pace that she has been pushing on, whether uphill, downhill, or on the flat, as she pushes further through and catches a lapped rider. She moves now into half race distance with 2 laps to go, 500 metres between her and the large pack of over 20 riders at the front of this race. So on the left-hand side of your screen at the moment, we are in with Ortiz. Ortiz part and parcel of that race and that large pack of riders still together. They are now up and over climb 9 of this race. 16 climbs in total for these women today. These climbs coming thick and fast. In fact, climb number 10 only 100 metres away as they cross the bridge and lap one of the riders at the back of the field. And this large pack goes past that Category 3 rider as they go over the bridge, and as they move now on to climb number 10. This climb coming at 19.2 kilometres into the race. It is our steepest climb of the 4 per lap, with 29 metres of height over 700 metres of distance, an average gradient of 4.1%. But it's steeper in places, and as this kicks now to nearly 6%, we can see these riders pushing on. But this group is not shedding riders yet. In fact, our category 2 riders coming to the front of this pack and pushing on over this climb. And we can see them heading up as this course hits 6.4, 6.3%, and 5 watts per kilo being put out by this group. But it's a short effort up climb number 10. And as the riders feel the gradient easing off as they get towards the top of that climb and start to go down the other side. Behind them though, Bauer is now 400 meters behind. She's closing fast, and there is now 44 seconds back to her next catch. Her next catch on the road being Kekkonen, who has looked as though has been dropped slightly from that group in front. So the group in front now looking like it is down to 22 riders, with Kekkonen the rider in between in no man's land. And Kekkonen gives Bauer a target, and Bauer will now push on, and she continues to push on. This has become an absolute outstanding time trialing effort from Bauer, as Bauer is trying to close down and get herself in this front group. If this front group don't start to push on in this race, they are going to see Bauer join them, and who knows what Bauer can do, because the adrenaline must be pumping really hard with whatever happened to Bauer at the front of this race. So Kekkonen is on the left-hand side of your screen. Bauer is on the right. This is the chase that Bauer is trying to make, and the gap that Bauer is trying to close. And whilst we can see, I think that's a lapped rider that Bauer is coming up on over this bridge, because we can't see Bauer in the distance from the shot from Kekkonen looking behind. So as Bauer comes round this corner, is she going to see Kekkonen, or is she too far up the road? I think she's a little bit too far up the road yet, and Bauer's not going to get a glance of the next opponent to tick off. In fact, I'm looking at the times here, and whilst we keep saying it's not going to be too long before Bauer sees Kekkonen, because she's brought that gap down to 30 seconds. So back in with the front, we are in with Oliveri, one of our category 2 riders. A strong rider indeed. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 category 2 riders are still in this front group. An outstanding ride from them to keep so many of the front of the category 2 race in this leading group today. But it's one of those courses that really is an interesting course and gives us a different type of riding and racing today. We have a course of 4 laps with 16 short, sharp climbs. So different from last week, where the women raced and saw a final climb of over 470 meters, which is more in the final climb last week than these women are racing today. So 4 climbs per lap, 4 laps, 16 short, sharp climbs in total. But it's not doing the damage to this front group that we might normally say. See, this race has not yet been lit up. So we are in with Quevedo. Quevedo second last week. A strong ride and an attacking rider, and part and parcel of this front group of racers. On the right-hand side of your screen, we are watching Jojo Bauer. Jojo Bauer still moving through that field and still needing to make the next catch, which is Kekkonen. But Kekkonen seems to be pushed on. I think she's seen what's going on behind her and has made a decision to try and keep Bauer at bay. And I'm looking and I'm trying to work out, I think it's about 250 meters between these 2 riders. And that's just keeping Kekkonen out of sight of Bauer. And Bauer can't quite see the rider in front because of the bend on this bridge. And it's just just playing to Kokonen's advantage here. Once Bauer has her in her sights, there's added impetus and motivation to make the catch. And it's a race within a race here as we're seeing Jojo Bauer try and move her way through this field and push on to make the catches here and move her up from what was 66th place on the race so far to 24th place. An amazing effort already, but one that we're watching with real anticipation. So Bauer heads now to 22.3k covered. She's well and truly into lap 3. As on the left-hand side of your screen, we are in with that front group who are having a period of rest and recovery. By the looks of the heart rate numbers I can currently see for Gemma Brogan. So Brogan now at the moment, currently 22nd in that group and pushing through that front group. So a large number of riders still in this front pack. And this front pack of 23 riders, mix of Category 1 and Category 2 riders, now covered 23.3 kilometres of this 35.6 kilometre course. And finally, it seems to be stretching out a little, but I think it's a bit deceptive because we are on the downhill run at the moment before the riders get to the final climb of lap 3. So with the final climb of lap 3 coming up now for this front group of riders, we are in with Jojo Bauer, who is doing the ride of the race. Bauer, with issues at the beginning of this race, saw her back in 66th place on lap 1. Bauer has put in an outstanding time trialling effort to hold a consistent pace through this race and close the gap down on the riders and move through to 24th place. She is currently one rider back from joining this large group at the front, and 400 metres now separating her. 400 metres only between Bauer and the front leading pack on this race. So will Bauer make the gap? Will she make the closure? Will she get back into this front group where she undoubtedly deserves to be and would have been without the start issues that she faced today? The rider that she is chasing down, Kokkonen, is the rider between her and that front group. 200 metres between her and the rider here we are seeing on the left-hand side of the screen. In fact, on Bauer's screen, she can now see the rider ahead of her. Is she seeing? This is a good question. We are on a lapped course and it's tricky to pull riders from lapped riders here today. But Bauer is indeed making the catch here. This is the last catch, probably, unless something has happened in the front of this race between Bauer and that front group. So Bauer comes over the top of Kokkonen. She has made the catch. So will Kokkonen now try and sit with Bauer and take a ride to the group ahead? So Jojo Bauer now sat in 23rd place from 66th position in on lap 1. The front of the group now 25 kilometres into this race. They are coming up to the end of lap 3. That means there's one more lap to go when they cross that start banner. In fact, there'll be one more lap to go for Jojo Bauer when she gets there as well. And she's not much further behind. Bauer currently at 24.6 kilometres travelled in 23rd place. That group looking ahead are not that much further up the road now, but she's still got a big effort to make that catch because that race is going to light up soon as they move into the last lap of this race. It can't sit as a large group of 22 riders for much longer. So as we move into the final stages of lap 3, these riders in this front group will have one more lap to go when they hit the lap banner this time. It's still a large group of riders in the lead. On the left-hand side of your screen, we are in with Thua. Thua, one of our Category 1 riders, really in the mix here today. This group is huge as they are sitting and taking a massive rest and recovery period before that finish banner of the lap banner comes up in front of them. The course at the moment for this leading group is on a bit of a descent and a rolling line before they move into the next climb. When they get to the next climb after that, just before that finishing banner, it will be the first climb of the last lap. But Bauer is not far behind, and we really want to see, I'm willing Bauer to make this front group. I can't believe she's going to do it, but I so hope she does. And there's not much riders between now, her and this group in front. In fact, we can sit now in with that group, and on the right-hand side, the names list is actually showing Bauer on the same screen as that front group. And for her, that's got to be a massive motivation. She's 400 meters now off of this group, and so willing her to make this catch before the front of this group light the fire beneath this race. So the front group cross the line. You're in with the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club as the front group of this race today on the Bahrain route. A large leading group of around 20 riders go through into the last lap. Jojo Bauer is in pursuit. She's in pursuit of that leading group, and she is coming round now and should soon see that banner. In fact, there it is. As Bauer goes through that banner, there is one lap to go for Jojo Bauer, who is doing an outstanding ride today. Back in the front group, Bauer has closed that gap now to 300 meters. It's ticking, and will she make the back of that group before they light the fire at the front of it? Van Hoolen there is moving her way to the front of that group as Bauer is pushing on, constant pace between 4 and 5 watts per kilo to try and make that gap. She's on this first climb of the final lap. This final lap has 4 climbs in total. 4 short, sharp climbs to make this race and to find out who's going to cross the line in first, second and third. In fact, from the top of the final climb, there's 2.2 kilometers to travel to the race finish line. And at this rate, unless somebody does something outstanding, there's going to be a large pack coming into that finish line together for a sprint finish today. The question is, are we going to see our Category 2 green jersey riders in that sprint finish with our Category 1 riders, or is something going to happen within these last 6, 7 or 8 kilometers? So this front group now in the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club is sitting at around 20 riders as they move through now towards the second climb on the final lap of this race. It's the second climb coming up for this lap, but it's the 14th, yes, 14th climb that these women have faced on this race today. As they cross over this bridge, we can see there are still a large number of riders in this group, and we can see they are pushing along, but they are not lighting the fire beneath this race yet as the lead group move over the bridge and towards the steeper sections of this climb as it ticks to 4.4% for them. Back 350 meters down the road, Jojo Bauer is still in pursuit of this front group. I think she might run out of road, but I really hope she doesn't. I so hope she makes the catch The time is coming down. She's got 22 seconds to the next rider on the road ahead of her as Bauer pushes through at 5.5 watts per kilo as this road goes up in front of her. She's on the second climb of this final lap. As she pushes on and the power goes down, she's kicking out nearly 6 watts per kilo as she is trying to close the gap to the riders in front. And those riders in front, that group looks as though it is splitting. We have had 22 riders in that front group crossed through the final lap banner of this race at 1 lap to go. As Bauer continues to close the gap, she's got 17 seconds now to the 22nd rider on the road. Gaviari, our Category 2 rider, is there. And Bauer should hopefully have sight of them soon as she continues to progress through this race. But at 29 kilometres travelled, they've gone over climb 13, they've gone over climb 14, and they are rolling through the rolling lands to get to climb 15 of 16 climbs on this course. Bauer turns this corner and Bauer has a rider in sight, more motivation to push on, and she continues to put the power down on those pedals to make that catch. The front group now look as though they are pushing on and the power has not come off for this group of riders as they descend now past the 14th climb and onto climb number 15. They've got 2 climbs left on this course to break this group up before there's a large group going to the sprint finish. So are we going to see an attack or are we not? As we are back in with Jojo Bauer, who is pushing on here, and she is going to make this catch and she's going to move to 22nd rider on the road as she will go past this Category 2 rider who for not too long was sat in that front group and has now come back. So Bauer moves on, currently lying in 22nd place as she pushes through with the effort to try and catch this group. But this front group is staying away and the distance is now 300, 350 metres for Bauer, between Bauer and this lead group. And this lead group now at 30.2k travelled of a 35.6k race are coming up to climb number 15. There are 2 climbs left for this front group and coming up for 5k of racing left. 51 minutes of racing so far done, and this is still a large group, but we are starting for the first time to see small breaks in this group with some of the riders gapping back 2-3 seconds. It might not sound like a lot, but at this point of the race, the riders in this group are going to have to really pay attention because it will be so easy for an attack to go off this group and for such a large group, someone to get caught napping. So Bauer is pushing on here and she continues to push on and she continues to try and close this gap, but it's hanging around 350 metres. And I'm not sure Bauer is going to be able to catch because the front of this race has got to light up really soon. I don't think she is going to make it, but who knows? Anything could happen. So you're in with the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We are here with the women's race and 31 kilometres now raced and 52 minutes of racing. We have a 35.6 kilometre course today, and these riders in this front group are now on climb number 15. At 31.1k, this is going up, and we are seeing the gradient here over 3%. The riders will go over this climb. They will drop down the other side. They will climb the final climb of this race course, and then they will have 2.2k to run finish. So on the left-hand side of your screen, we are in with Van Hooling. The yellow jerseys seem to be coming to the front of this pack, and it's about time. But I'm not sure they're doing as much damage as perhaps they might like, because we've got Sanchez in there, and we've got Hermanson in there as well, our Category 2 riders, still able to stay with this pace. In fact, Antico is in there as well. So some class Category 2 riders in with our Category 1 riders as they go over the top of climb number 15 and start the descent over the other side before they hit the final climb of this course today. The climbing has been relentless. It has been a true on-off race today, with 16 short, sharp climbs for these women. But we haven't seen any major attacks. We've seen this front group continue to ride together and continue to track the race. What we have seen, though, is a most outstanding ride on the right-hand side of your screen from Jojo Bauer. Bauer got caught out for some reason at the start of this race and was at the back of the field. She has time trialled her way through the race field to move into 22nd place. It's been an outstanding effort to watch as she continues to try and catch the front of this race. But the front of this race, we're in with Jenny Sanchez as we watch now as Gavaria from the Category 2, or is it a latch rider, or maybe London there? It's difficult to pick out at the moment, but Bauer is pushing on and I think potentially about to make another catch. So on the left-hand side of your screen, we are back with the front group of this race. At 32.8k, they are on the final climb. The final climb of 16 today. So when they get to the top of this climb, they'll have 2.2k to run to the finish. It's a steep downhill, followed by a slight rise, followed by a descent, a flat, and then a kick to the finish. But Bauer here as well. Bauer is pushing on, and she's about to hit the bottom of this final climb as well. This effort has been outstanding from Bauer. She's got 2 seconds to do the next catch on the road. The rider must just be round this corner, and it's looking like she's got less than 30 seconds to the front group, but the road is running out for her. And there's a real question as to whether she's going to make that catch to that front group, but just don't discount her. She's an outstanding rider. So we are in with Jojo Bauer. Bauer is currently putting out just shy of 500 watts as she tries to catch this lead group. It's been an outstanding ride for Bauer, who got caught out at the first start out the gate of this race. She's moved her way through the field from 66th on lap 1 to 21st on the final lap. 4 laps this race today has taken its toll for Bauer, but she's done an outstanding ride, and she's adamant, absolutely adamant, she's catching the front group on this race. The front group on the left-hand side of your screen are currently at 33.7k travel. They have less than 2k to go to the finish line. And this is still a large group. We have at least 6 Category 2 riders in here with these Category 1 yellow jerseys as well. This is not just going to be a sprint for the Category 1 win. It's going to be a sprint for the Category 2 win today as well. And as we start to move into the final 1,500 metres, we are not seeing an attack come yet. At what point is this light fire going to be lit under this race? As we see Menzies, Van Hooling, Bjarnhead, Ortiz, Sanchez, Faber, all in this front group, and they are looking at each other. This group of 20 riders in this lead pack are sat up. They are looking at each other and they are waiting for the finish line to come. I think Bauer on the right-hand side of your screen is going to run out of road. But while she might not catch this lead group, she's catching those that have been dropped off the back as she moves through these riders, and she continues to move on in 21st place. As we move to the left-hand side of your screen, 34.8 kilometres travelled now of a 35.6k race. They are in the last 700 metres of this race, and this is a large group. We are going to see a sprint here, but who is going to lead it out, and when is that lead going to come? We are in, and we are starting to see Menzies here. But the watts might be higher, but they're not going through the roof yet as Bjornhead puts in 7.2. Van Hoolen hits 9 watts per kilo as we start to see this roll out with 400 metres to go. The fire has suddenly started under these Category 1 riders as Marin and Van Hoolen. Bjornhead's 12.4 watts per kilo as she starts to push, and she can't wait till that banner comes into sight as there's 100 metres to go and these riders are fighting it out. Van Hoolen kicks, Bjornhead kicks. Oh my goodness, that was so tight there in that race, and wow, what an effort and what a race from those women today. That race, we see Maria Marin take first place, followed by Van Hoolen, Karup Cavado, both are Spartan obstacles rider, followed by Ortiz, Fua, Bjarhead, Menzies, rounding out the top 7. In our Category 2 race, the strong women first and second. Julie Sanchez, followed by Jenny Sanchez in second place. Olsen in third, and Tico of Tri Women in fourth, and Cadero in fifth. So our top 12 riders in this race today. Absolutely outstanding effort. And it came down to that sprint as we saw Bauer now. We are back in. What an outstanding ride from Jojo Bauer today. With issues at the start of this race, seeing Bauer last rider on the road, she moved from 66th in lap 1, adamant she was going to work her hardest to make the catch to that front group, and she nearly did it. It was an ask beyond anything you could ask of a rider today, and we watched Jojo Bauer time trial her way from the back of the field to 13th place today as Bauer pushes through and sees the finish line in sight. What an absolutely outstanding ride we have witnessed today from Bauer as she crosses the line. So, our top riders today. We've seen a large pack of riders come through that line, but Maria Marin taking the win in that Category 1 race, followed by Van Hoolen and Cavado. First in our second category race, Julie Sanchez, followed by Jenny Sanchez and Olsen rounding out the top 3 there. And what a ride by Jojo Bauer as well. Absolutely fantastic racing on this course today. So, the Bahrain route did not disappoint. We saw 16 climbs today for these women, and we saw a large pack of riders go into that finish together for what was an outstanding sprint, and the win taken by Maria Marin. So, today on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, we had a pack today of 20 plus riders in the lead group for the win today. It came down to a final sprint, and what a final sprint it was. Both for the Category 1 riders today and our Category 2 riders. Absolutely superb. So that was qualifier race 3, and that was the best sprint finish I think I have seen for a long time. And what an effort from Jojo Bauer. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today for the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club on August the 21st. That was qualifier race 3, and I look forward to seeing you next week. If you want to follow me, my name is Emma Martin, and you can find me on social media, Biking Emma. Thank you ever so much. I look forward to seeing you next week.